about taking 40 grand out from the
And
side.
it's perfectly legitimate to leave it in there because it's, as a board member, it's nice to know that that's up for discussion. The budget committee is recommending that we take it out, which is perfectly fair. But we don't know that unless we discuss it here. So
Yeah.
I'm actually glad it's still in there. In that regard. But I'm in favor of taking it out, if that helps.
Yeah, I mean, the flooring, we decided, well, yes, nothing really wrong with the flooring, but it was gonna make the end of the year stripping and waxing easier. So we said this is gonna be the year to
The only thing that's all in that conversation too is that the idea would be to do it all in 1 year.
Right.
As opposed to
Right.
balancing out or.
No, that's what we talked about.
From a logistics standpoint, it's easier to do all in 1 year. If we don't decide to do it this year, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
But I think that just to keep that in mind, and we're talking
Right,
about
do it
doing
all at
it.
once. So, and that was what we talked about was, since we're getting hit with the siding, let's put that out onto another year, since we don't really need it right now. You know what I mean? And then we can do that all at once, but, you know, instead of doing both the floor and the siding at
And
once.
it's not dangerous to drain the Whitney Trust Fund because it is one of the ones that I talked about before. We can always use the school maintenance trust fund should emergency fund.
Correct.
Or you can't go
What was
vice
it in
versa.
for anything particular? Was there like,
There's a roof down the road. If you would say we got 10 years maybe.
Yeah, I mean, or just sitting in a meeting and looking across the way, and I mean, that roof wasn't replaced as part of the renovation, whatever it was, 15 years ago, so I don't know how old it is. It looks okay, but it looks,
Is the flooring, how is the flooring on there if we don't need flooring? Is it like scheduled maintenance?
No, they would replace it because it's old-fashioned flooring. I guess so the way you have to strip it and wax it is much more time-consuming, and they don't have the time to do it.
Well, it just,
So they want to go to this other floor that made it so much quicker to do.
But it's going to have to be done at some point.
some point, but it's not
soon.
started.
It's not
sometimes it
a-
requires being completely stripped and then several coats of wax. So it takes a good amount of our summertime to strip and refinish and redo the
maybe
floors.
it's a lot easier.
However, they're not broken or, you know, leaking or.
Or eyesores or.
it's just, with the larger schools, like Bartlett, the high school, the other schools, you know, they're 55,000 square feet. They have places to store the equipment, to mechanically strip the floor, they do the wax, they have the machines that go around and do the edges. You guys don't have, I mean, these are big pieces of equipment, so your guys are doing it by hand.
We
You
bought a
probably
lot of it.
scrub
We
your
bought one a few years back.
And they weigh about 500 or 1,000 pounds. They're crazy, but it's just hugely labor intensive. I think what he's talking about is replacing it with something like this that's basically, you know, lead bomb versus stripping and waxing. And that stripping and waxing, generally to do a good job, you need to do like 5 coats. So I just,
So, again, from a process standpoint, what we're doing tonight, I think it's perfectly fine to kind of come to a consensus to make decisions on some of this stuff. If we want to make a motion to make a specific decision on something on one of the articles, I don't have any problems with the board making a motion to do that so that it's more transparent. If we come to a consensus, we're pretty good. Unless someone wants to make a specific motion, which is fine too. So, but
I just want the 61 to come out of that.
so we're going to take 25 out now, make that decision to take 25 out, take the floor out.
We all need to-
We're all good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, on the siding, it's $46,000 for that, and the balance in the Whitney fund is 45. And so what you're thinking, Keith, is that we should drain that entirely?
Say 40. I mean, we're going to put, what, 9 back in? How much we put back in again?
We were gonna put 3 in.
We're going to put 3 back in.
Yeah.
So use 40 of that,
We're
we're
going to use 40.
I'm okay with this, has this been discussed with the, recycling league at all? I think it should be at least out of courtesy.
I mean, it was still technically $8,000 in there. And it is for something that needs to be done.
And I agree, I mean, I think that it's good use of that, that's why that fund is there.
And if for some reason something else happens, we always have to, what was it,
Yeah, no, we don't have any January.
But you mentioned it at the last meeting that that was something we could on the budget was getting use of that.
Yeah, we got 77 in the regular maintenance.
So you recommending taking out 45 or 46
Well,
or?
we only have 45. If you know how we can get 46 out of
Well,
the
no, on the operating side.
Oh, yeah.
The operating.
61.
So, well, let's take 40 out, so I think out of the Whitney funds, and that would leave $6,000 still, so we're looking at taking 55 out of the operating budget.
Well, wait, it's only 46, right?
Right.
For the siding?
Correct.
Yeah, so.
46,000 for the siding.
Right, so we want to take,
And you've reduced the budget by 25 so far.
yeah,
So you're going to reduce the operating budget again
By
by
another 40.
By
We
another
want to go to 45 until we figure it out.
I'd say
That's what we can figure it out.
$1,000 limits.
Well, we can take it out of the school's regular maintenance fund if we want to. We can't speak.
Well, no, we're gonna, you could go $1,000 and then take the whole 45 and make $1,000 of our operating budget.
I think I'd be more comfortable with just take the 40 out.
Take the 40 out.
Yeah, is it you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to reduce the budget by another 40,
Yeah.
okay?
Total 85.
65.
So in that line would be, instead of 95,835, we'll do the numbers, but it will be 30,835.
Correct. And we're looking to reduce that out of
So, no, oh, yeah.
the Whitney maintenance fund.
Okay. And that will be a warrant, right? Or do we just take that out?
No, you got it here.
Here.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions on the operation and maintenance of the plant?
Can we go back to insurance? And the bus driver issue? Do you think we should increase the budget by $6,500 to
Yes.
cover that?
Yes.
Agree with
Yeah.
that?
Well, let me ask you this, are we going to offer this new job at the exact salaries that people are being paid at?
That's regardless of the insurance piece of it.
Well, no, because if we were gonna pay 5,000 less, we don't need to have the 65,000, now we got it. So,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, if we were gonna pay, if we were gonna offer the starting salary.
But you, at the beginning, you said that we should keep that salary.
Okay, so just making sure that we're all, like I was
I
saying that, like, and I wanted to make sure everybody else does.
I'm in agreement with that, yes.
And is that ever not gonna be an insult to the two fantastic guys that are retiring?
I think they understand
It's
Yeah,
But the personnel can be then adjusted and non-contracted,
Yeah.
because there's a range, right, and you could still have discretion as the superintendent over.
And that would be the thing. I mean, I think on the high end, there's enough money in the salary range for a bus driver. Not saying somebody with little experience wouldn't make what they do, but if you have somebody who, has 15 years of experience coming from a different place,
Right.
you want that person in your district.
right. So does that need to go to personnel, or that will just come back to us?
Well, I think we have the range in there already, and I can,
We've got the range in the budget. I think that when we go to actually advertise for it, we'll probably want to have a personnel committee to meet and kind of recommend how to advertise for it. And I don't think we're going to advertise the full range.
Right.
I wouldn't think that, but we'll probably come up with a number that we think makes sense to advertise for and start there.
And so we want to start advertising as soon as possible, right? Or no?
I mean, yeah, spring, usually it's like March.
Oh, okay.
Jim. And trust me, Jim is recruiting, Gretel is recruiting
All right, get us
bus
to it.
drivers.
Get us to it.
All
See,
of
it's
that.
good sooner, to be honest. I mean, it's ski season right now, how many people, weekenders are coming up skiing, or maybe are retiring, or might want to.
Well, at the very least,
I
we
don't
can
know.
get it to personnel for 10.
Nobody comes here in mud season.
And then we'll get a hearing on the Whitney funds.
No, we don't,
We don't need to do
we'll have a hearing on that when we go to spend
When
it.
we go to.
You can do that.
Gotcha, okay. All right,
So we're back to the health insurance piece.
Yeah, so that's.
Health insurance is at $6,500.
That's 65.
That's the
Yeah,
range.
so the 38,444, is that what they're asking?
Correct.
it was 65, okay.
Yeah, give or take. Okay.
Right.
You go to page 8. You'll see those are just some transportation costs will change. Fuel costs are up a little bit. And you'll see staff services, food service, and at the bottom, those are articles that were approved warrants last year. And that's your total operating budget, which will be reduced by about 50,000.
Okay.
All right, page 9 is just your grants.
And those are just going to keep going down, right, because of what we talked about last year, that what is it, the rural school achievement program, or?
Yeah.
Right.
She had been concerned about whether or not we would get it. We did get it for this year. I think it's a pretty good thing at this point, but
Page 10, we just went over those. Those are your reserve funds. The next page after that is your estimated revenue. Looks like this one. Did you get it out?
No, it's in the back.
Yeah, it's in this one.
It's
It's the one that's forecast.
It's in the other pack.
At the very top says
It's the
estimated
second from the
revenue.
back. It should be.
third page.
It's actually good to keep us on our toes and actually makes us pay attention rather than just kind of drifting into sleep. Have to do something.
So I'll walk you through that. Your unencumbered balance, you can see Becky does a conservative estimate. It's quite a bit lower than what it has been, just because you've had some expenditures this year. So previously over $100,000 this year, it's projected at about $47,000. In July of last year or August, you folks retained that $25,000 out of the year, last year's budget.
So how much do we have there?
That's it.
That was it?
Yeah.
Every year it goes back.
Yeah. If you don't spend it,
Something was the most?
you can go 2.5% of yeah. So that would be for emergencies. So should, pipes burst or septic or whatever it happens to be, you can go through a process to use that
New
25,000.
school comes into town?
No.
What about fund is zero? What about special ed fund is zero?
Nope. Sorry.
Only for building emergencies?
So that's pretty much what the law says. Kindergarten, you'll see, we have 9 kindergartens? 11. So it's a conservative estimate again. And then you'll see the grants, and then down below, some of the different pieces. And then you'll see the district assessment. And that's what changes the tax rate. All right, and then the next page is your estimated tax rate information. And that will change because your budget will change. Okay, so previously it was going up 82 cents per thousand, over a 13.98% increase. And that's for your operational costs. So that will drop. That will drop. And then you'll see the articles down the bottom. And there's a number for the preschool yet, if tonight you decide to place it on. So that is budget overview.
So you were saying, Jimmy, you'd like to see us actually make a vote on each article tonight?
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying if someone I think that we can probably go through these and come to just a consensus on how we fully want to do that for January. But if the board member wants to make a specific one, it could be so that it logistically doesn't, it's just as well too. It really will, probably the preschool one is something that will be just
And start us off, then I make a motion that we remove that one article.
well, are we on board Article 2?
Yeah.
I believe we are.
Before we do that, I did just want to thank Becky Jefferson for what she's done for the Jackson School District over the years. It's, you know, in preparing this budget and every budget that's been prepared, it's absolutely amazing how attuned to it that she is. She knows every line in every one of these school district budgets, including ours. You call her up and have a question about it, and she knows exactly what you're talking about. And it's not just the number that's in the budget. She's very well attuned to the process and has really had a very conscious, she makes a very conscious effort to be as fair and transparent to the taxpayers as she possibly can. She really works very hard at keeping these budgets as fine-tuned as possible. And she's really going to be hard to replace and very missed by our school districts. I'd just like to thank her for all the years of service that she's done for us.
I'll second that. She really is amazing, both for all of us and individually. I think she did a lot of us.
Everyone follows all these
I
crazy.
know. Maybe we just need to sell it.
Annual school meeting, so.
Should be on that one.
Neighbors,
Yeah.
flower,
Yeah, we'll do that.
Actually, back on advocates.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, so we can move on to board cards. Where is the preschool on this one?
So we can get the, start with one.
Jerry, bring an extra copy. A copy of it. I'm sorry.
Actually, I think I do have it in here somewhere.
Yes.
Usually Article 1 is the whole budget system.
Yeah.
Well, Article 1 has to be the preschool. And the reason is, well, it has to precede the operating.
Yeah, it has to precede it because it's something that gets voted, so I want to amend the.
Then there's a second motion to reduce the budget by whatever.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we can move on to the warrant. And I'll entertain your motion.
I made a motion to remove Article 1.
I'll second.
Now we have discussion about that. So this is the preschool discussion, and I will open it up to the floor if anybody does want to make a comment or have a discussion in this, but I think we'll start off on board.
I'd like to say something before, and Peter and Emily, thank you guys both, and everybody that's put the work into this. I am all for preschool, public preschool, it's just not the right time and place right now, and on top of that, with our budget starting off at 17% increase, very hard to ask for another $120,000.
I would say to how this process has unfolded, I think that from most people in this community, on the board, from the school, I think everyone that I've spoken to are in support of the idea of a public preschool. There are people in the community that don't think that preschool should be a burden of the public. I think that's a fair argument to make, but I think that that's a minority in town. I think that everyone supports the idea of having a public preschool. Not everyone. The majority of the town of Jackson community supports the idea of a public preschool. I think that where we've made a mistake on the board is that we've never really come up with a good where to have it. And that it seemed like something for me from the start that we could have in our school building. As our enrollment has grown kind of unexpectedly for very good positive reasons, really fantastic. I think that by putting a preschool into this building as it is now, we're really crowding that space and it would be difficult to facilitate. And I think that where I think I've dropped the ball on kind of going through this process is not open. Kind of what you said throughout the year, which was that if all we're going to do is present the same thing, we're kind of doomed for failure with it. I didn't see the logic in that as you were saying it, and unfortunately I kind of see it now. where it's like, because I didn't anticipate the school space really being an issue. And I do see it as an issue. I don't see how it's going to work the way that the building currently is. For that reason, I'm actually not going to be in support of having a preschool in our building. I'll probably vote in the affirmative to your motion.
I think, just to kind of jump onto what you're saying, I think that what I'd like to do is keep the momentum for preschool in Jackson going. I know it is a long process, and I know that we have been in many meetings and we've talked to many people, but I think we've also learned a lot this year, looking at new people coming to the school and the dynamics and things like that, and however it's unfolded, this is where we are now, and I would much rather we do it right, and we meet the needs of our K through 6ers as well as the preschoolers that we get in, than do it because we wanted to get it done. So I will say personally, there's disappointment and frustration, but I think this is how we make it the best it can be for everyone. So I would much rather, and why I seconded that motion is I would much rather make sure that we have a plan that we can all live with, that is going to allow our kids to excel than to jump in and force something that is not a workable situation at the moment. So, and I'm happy to answer questions about that because I've been, I think, the most vocal over the past couple of years. But, we can only make the best decision we can at the point that we're at with the information we have. And I know there has been a lot of information that came in these past couple of months. So I'm hoping that it doesn't end here, though. I'm hoping that we continue that conversation. And I don't think there's much that needs to change. I think we need to look at that space. That is our biggest issue. I think everything else most of us agree on. But finding that place for those kids is something that I don't think we've done the best job we could have.
So with that in mind, and I also had some conversations and looked at things, and I agree that I really want the preschool in the town. I think it's beneficial. I think the community wants it as a whole. I don't think it's best in the actual school building that we have now. I think it's just too crowded in there, and it will take away some of the advancements that we've made and the special things that we're able to do with our current students, which reviewing the high school situation has enabled us to have the kids on the high honor roll and the honor roll that we do have. So with that in mind, I would like to propose that if there isn't something we can do, I don't need to follow. This is where you come in. I'm looking to your expertise as far as following the rules and the process. As far as not losing momentum, I would like to move forward that in January we have 2 people tasked with going back perhaps to some other people in town, selectmen or building people, to review as a whole the community and come back at that point. Like we offered that in January that we're going to do another step in the plan subcommittee, something like that. Just to, I don't want to lose the momentum, and I want it on the next schedule.
And I think that's probably the best way to handle it if we decide not to move forward with it now. It's really come down to where, and if we had an answer for where, then everybody would be getting behind it. And I think that everybody does describe that we haven't really solved that where issue yet. And then it'll really become a two-point issue, which is where and how much. And if everybody's in agreement that where we decide is where it should be, that will be successful, and then people can fairly and transparently argue the subject of, is it too much money to spend, or is it a fair amount of money to spend, which would be an easier discussion to have and a more transparent and fair discussion to have, I think. And we really haven't presented the idea of where yet, so I think what we should do is form a committee to look at, that would be tasked by the board to determine where we should go to school.
We don't need to know that we need it. We already know that.
Right. We don't need to discuss the idea of why we don't need it anymore. I think everyone can support that. It's just coming up with the space. And I think that would be tasked pretty well from that. I did talk to Jeff today. Did you talk about Thompson today about it?
There's a call out to him. I haven't heard back, but he had been in favor.
One of the things that Bob Thompson, the selectman, has been discussing with Jess is the idea of we have facility issues in town, and we might try to form an ad hoc committee, a couple school board members and one of the selectmen to look at the space issue. What do we have for available space in town? How do we use the buildings that we have? To kind of get that conversation started, to better structure and frame the concept of where we put preschool. But I think that we shouldn't drop the ball so we don't come to May and April and have Emily starting to say, hey, you guys got to get on the ball with this, otherwise you're going to end up in December again. And then, I'm sorry, we're here again this December. And again,
I'm very patient.
it seems as though we're not going to be successful with it again. And it's because our process has been flawed, and I'm as responsible for that as anybody probably. I think that if we do try to really stay on target and form a facility committee where the board determines what is the goal of that facility committee and what's the time frame of that facility committee going to be, then I think that we'll have a better structure for answering the question of where do we have it. And I think the thing that we want to think about in regards to that between now and January is, do we want that facility committee to look at the campus we currently have, or do we want them to look outside the campus that we currently have, or do we want them to do both?
I said we do both. I don't want to get another limited situation.
And that might be the right answer, but just think about
Depends on who the board, current board is, and then comes sign to vote too.
Well, I said we start in January.
Can I throw this out there? I know Terry, you're on the facilities committee, the actual facilities committee. Maybe, I really am invested in this. I know we all are invested in this, but I would love to continue working on it. So I would be happy to sit with you, the two of us. Maybe we can get with Bob or another selectman to have that conversation by January and come back to the board and give them an update on where we're at and see what needs to be happen at that point. See if options open up. One other piece of education I think we got through this year is that we have space in the building that is not used at all for various reasons. And forget the preschool, that is something I would love our facilities committee or our board to look at for, is there a better way to use that as we're looking at extended learning opportunities, as we're looking at more independence for our sixth graders and things like that. So perhaps that can be something that we look at, just looking at the space and making a decision about how to move forward with the preschool as an attendant to that. Maybe we can keep that in mind for the regular facilities committee.
any other board members?
I don't mind being part of that, if you need an alternate.
Yeah, I'm happy to sit back too if somebody else wants to do it, so.
But I'm towards that, I mean, just towards
Yeah.
what we're discussing right now.
I'll say the only other thing is, I'm acutely aware of the fact that it was a tie vote last year, and I firmly believe that it should go to the voters. My hesitation in not moving a warrant article forward now is that I'm very concerned it will fail, and then we will not have produced something at all. So that is one main reason why I put the brakes on this year, from my personal viewpoint, to give a little bit more time to sort this out. So, and if there are concerns about that, we welcome comments, but, and I know there are different views on that, but I firmly believe and I hope that we will get this to the voters again. I'm just not supportive of getting it this round.
But I think that in the beginning of all of this, the idea that it had to get back to the voters was the thing that pushed it without all of the additional conversation. And that kind of I kind of feel like this is how we got here, is because it was, the motivation was to push it forward no matter what, to get it back to the voting, to our community. But in that pushing it forward, there wasn't a whole lot of conversation and action that happened to make it right.
Thank you for saying that. To phrase it a little bit better in my mind and how to discuss this, because I do want to open up to the floor for questions to us. And it brings me back to what I said in the beginning of the meeting about how I do think it's the responsibility of the boards, whether it's the school board, the select boards, particularly in the state of New Hampshire, that we're the ones that decide what to put forth to the voters. Because you could make a fair argument, well, we should just put it on the warrant article and let the voters decide. I think that's an abdication of a board's duties. I think it's for us to decide what we put forth on the warrant for voters to decide on. And that discussion can go back and forth, but I did want to say that before I open up to questions on the floor, so you understand, I think, where I'm coming from with that. I am getting the sense from the board right now that Keith's motion is probably going to succeed, and we're probably going to remove this from the warrant. And with that, I will open it up to anyone that has questions or comments at this point.
So my understanding is it's not going forward because it's a facilities issue is what it boils down to. So I would be interested in understanding what the long-term needs are around school facilities. I don't mean just for the for this? I mean, are there other issues? They didn't have an early ed in school. I mean, like, are we good for like the long term of what we have? Are we not? I mean, and for how long? 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? And then, you know, there was a lot of discussion around why you wanted the school because of like controlling access and having, you know, like, so.
To be clear about that specific point, it's not necessarily in the school building, it's in the school district. In other words, so it's in the school district so that we have.
Well, part of the reason was having it on campus was for like controlling security and stuff like that.
That's a different issue. It's a building issue. That security issue really was more to do with, that was my hesitation on the church property, was that it wasn't a normal professional relationship between how we would lease that space, meaning we wouldn't have control over security of that building. Understandably so from the church's standpoint. But from a school district standpoint, I think it's important that, not necessarily on our campus, but whatever space we do choose to have, we would have to have control over what access to that building is and what we physically put in place to control that access. That would be a very important issue to me as a board member to protect the district anyway. Because we do, on this campus, take it very seriously. You know, we have protocols, we have secure access now, those things we didn't have before. So anywhere that we have a preschool, if it's not necessarily in this building, we have to be able to put those security measures in place, in my mind.
I guess my thing is I'd like to understand kind of what the need is, you know, I mean, overall from grammar school, from early ed standpoint, forget about facility, what is ultimately needed, and then like what's available, how long it suits its purposes for, or whatever. I'm trying to,
And Tim,
I want to model in my head
and
how all the
I think
pieces
you're
fit
pretty more
together.
eloquently what I was asking for, which is that this process this year, each year we learn different things, but this one of the things that we've learned, because of some of the dynamics, class sizes, needs in the school, you know, when we had that original preschool committee, we looked at the school and we were divided as a committee, but I was a huge proponent of having them in the school because I said, look, put books on the floor, close that library down. That's what we do at my house. It seems to work great, you know. And we also talked about the fact that there's a capacity in that school that is like in the 70s, I think. When you go into that school now, we're not even close to that capacity, right? But because of the nature of the students that we have and how learning has changed, even in the past couple of years, you walk in there, you might have a teacher who's sitting in the hallway with a couple of kids on the floor, and then, you know, and the library is not, we all thought the library was used for library services. It is, but it's also used for special meetings, or if a kid needs a one-on-one, or, you know, counseling, things like that. And so that was something that we didn't understand when we said, let's put it in there. But one of the things I think we've seen is that from the March meeting last year is, we thought that basement was viable space, but there are a lot of people who have a different opinion. So that's something I would love for us to look at, to say, can we make a viable space for kids who have needs that are outside the regular school day, you know, or for older kids? That's a question I actually have. Why are we not using that space, you know? Because I've been down there, and it's fabulous space.
And that's kind of sitting away from where he is a good point, but to get back to your point, it's a very good one, and we should be looking at things like that. And that's kind of the idea of what Jess was talking to me earlier today about, was that by having a meeting with the selectmen as well, because it kind of, because of our limited space issues in the whole town as a whole, it would help to have a better understanding of the two things together. But it's certainly something that as a school district on the campus and property that we have, we should be thinking